So I didn't really record a lot of this trip, if any at all, mainly because I wanted to experience it through my own eyes rather than watching it through my phone screen in order to record. I did, however, take a lot of pictures which turned out to be live photos, so this video is more of a compilation of my live photos rather than a vlog, but it is my experience nonetheless. Enjoy. Our journey started on the 23rd of October. We stayed in a hotel right by the airport because since we were flying from England to America, the travel time was already sky high, no pun intended. My insane selfie skills are currently on display, of course you'll be seeing a lot of that. If you are here for the Walker Stalker vlog and the Walker Stalker vlog only, you can skip to the time on the screen right now. Very early morning on the 24th of October, we had to get up and get to the airport, and before we could fly to America, we had to fly to Paris first, in France. This was a smaller plane and the flight was only 2 hours, and once we had landed in Paris and stayed there for around 2 hours, we could get on our second plane. This was a much bigger plane, which was very nice considering this flight was close to 10 hours, which also meant that this plane had a little TV and also had a camera on the front of the plane, which was very fun to watch while taking off.
Rangez votre tablette, votre repose-pied.
Anna. We landed in America, Atlanta, Georgia specifically, at around 10 PM England time, which was 5 PM in Atlanta. We had a 2-hour wait in line before we finally passed through border control and made our way to the car, waiting to pick us up and take us to our hotel. We drove through the city and I tried to get pictures, but it was dark, so it was pretty hard, but I did capture the view of the city from our hotel room and it is extremely beautiful. And it was the first time I'd seen something like that. We also had a very nice pool and fire pit, which was a nice bonus. The 25th of October was our first actual day in Atlanta. We had been travelling for about 22 hours the day before, so we were a little bit tired on this day, but we got the most out of it anyway. We found out that there was an aquarium 5 minutes away from our hotel and apparently one of the biggest in the world, so of course we had to go see that, and it was insane. There is no other word I can think of to describe it. Sure, we have aquariums in England, but not anywhere near as insane as this. We saw fish, so many fish, sharks, whales, jellyfish, eels, penguins, dolphins, a dolphin show, starfish, Japanese spider crabs, and just so many more things. There were supposedly thousands of species in there. We went through the entire aquarium and it was still only 1 PM there. When we left the aquarium, right across from the exit, we saw a building called the World of Coca-Cola. If you Google where Coca-Cola was made, you'll see that it was in Atlanta, so we assumed that that's what this building is about. So we got tickets for this as well, and went inside. I think the woman said something about Coca-Cola being invented right where we were standing, so that was kinda cool. There was a bunch of facts about Coca-Cola, and there was this whole hallway full of machines used in the process of making Coca-Cola, which was actually more interesting than you'd think. There was also a 4D cinema, which was a very fun experience, and finally there was this room where you grab a cup and go around 5 different drink dispensers, each with 8 different drinks from 5 different continents, and you could try them all for free. There was North America, South America, Africa, Europe, and Asia. This was probably the coolest thing about the whole museum. Then we went to the Georgia World Congress Center, which is where the whole Walker Stalker convention was being held throughout the weekend, to pick our convention tickets up. Oh, and I saw the State Farm Arena. I wasn't entirely sure what it was, but I know that Brendan Urie is currently sponsored by State Farm, so I took pictures of it. We went back to our hotel, got Subway, and that was that day officially over. Friday the 26th of October was the first day of convention. If you are unaware of what Walker Stalker is, it's basically a horror or zombie convention, and pretty much most of the Walking Dead cast will be there for you to meet. We saw lizards and snakes in there, which was very different to Chicago already. There was also a booth for Scott Wilson, who was the actor for Herschel. He sadly passed away just weeks before this convention, but they put up this booth and had pens so everyone could sign the banner, and they sent it to his wife, which was a beautiful thing to do, and I'm very honoured to have been a part of that. The first person I decided to meet was Melissa Hutchison, who is the voice actor for Clementine from the game. This was incredible to me for so many reasons. First thing being the fact that I've played the entire game each season at least 10 times each, and it has been my favourite game of all time since it got released almost 7 years ago now. Melissa was such a kind person and she was actually really easy to talk to. Then we went back to find find the snakes because I wanted to hold them for some reason. It was actually really fun to hold them, believe it or not, and they were just such beautiful creatures. The second person I decided to meet was Tom Payne, who plays Jesus in The Walking Dead. I wanted to meet him so bad in Chicago, but I didn't get time, so I went back this time. He, just like everyone else, asked where I was from, and since he is also from England, he actually knew the town that I'm from, which literally no one else did. He slightly made fun of the accent and then took literally 17 selfies, which was actually really fun to do. Usually I hate selfies, but I gave my phone to him because my arms are like 3 centimeters long and I'd probably get a quarter of my face in the pictures. Tom was also a lovely person and very, very easy to talk to. I then went off and made my way to Ross Marquand, who plays Aaron in The Walking Dead. I do like Aaron, but I didn't actually plan to meet Ross. I was just walking past and I remembered someone telling me that he is a very nice man to meet, so I just went for it. And yes, it's true, he is also a very nice person. The second it was my turn to meet him, he just grabbed and hugged me and took so many selfies. Except he only took 8. So he was a lot nicer to my phone storage. We spent the rest of the day just walking around and exploring the whole convention because it was massive. Like there was probably 10 rows of booths, but it would take you like an entire hour just to walk down one row. Then once all the general admission and regular VIPs had left, the gold VIP and platinum VIPs had an exclusive panel. I was gold, so I obviously stayed to watch that, which was fun because a dog showed up. And that was the end of day 1 at the convention. Saturday the 27th of October was the second day of the convention and a big one for me. I had 2 photo ops for the morning of this day, and a photo op is basically a professional photo with an actor. I had Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who plays Negan on The Walking Dead, and Norman Reedus, who plays Daryl on The Walking Dead. It was quite tragic that I had both of my photos on this day because it was this day specifically out of the entire week that my face decided to look horrifying. But it is what it is, and I went for the photos anyway. I walked up to Jeffrey, he grabbed my face and stared into my soul for a short while and then stroked my hair, told me it was for good luck, and then squeezed me so hard that I'm pretty sure I stopped breathing for at least 3 seconds. Then he stared into my soul one more time, thanked me for coming, and then let me go. And it was already time for my Norman photo since Jeffrey was kinda late. So I sprinted to pick my printed picture of Jeffrey and I, and then sprinted to Norman's line, only to find out Norman was also late. So we waited a short while, and finally I got to Norman. I walked up to him, he looks at me and is just like, "Hi, how are you?" And I'm like, you know, "I'm good, thanks, how are you?" And we basically had a small conversation before we sort of hug and take the photo. So he was a lot more chill than Jeffrey, but it was still an incredible experience either way. And also my second photo with Jeffrey, see the comparison, the left is from Chicago in April and the right is from Atlanta in October. So after these photos, I cried inside a little bit, both happy because I just met Negan again and sad because oh my god, I look like I'm from a horror movie. But anyway, I made my way over to Stephen Ogg's line. Stephen is also someone I wanted to meet in Chicago, but again I ran out of time. Stephen plays Simon in The Walking Dead, although I was excited to meet him because he is also the voice actor for Trevor from Grand Theft Auto 5, and Trevor has been my favourite GTA character since the game came out. So here we are. It was slightly weird to hear Trevor say my name, but Stephen is actually a lot nicer than both Simon and Trevor are. Then I decided maybe it was time to meet another woman because of course we had Melissa or Clementine, but we needed to cross another one off the list. This is when I met Alana Masterson, who plays Tara on The Walking Dead. She was such a nice person obviously, and she is actually a lot like Tara. She is a very, very chilled person, and I love her eyebrows like so much. Look at that. So after meeting Alana, I thought it'd be best to give my money a break because it's not free to meet these people, and it's probably more money than you'd think. So once again we spent the rest of the day walking around the convention because even after 2 days we still hadn't even seen half of it all. Sunday the 28th of October, this day was a little less insane than the others, mainly because I had already met everyone I had planned to and more. So we used this day to sort of stroll around and explore the remaining parts of the convention that we hadn't yet seen. I also decided to go meet Norman Reedus, or Daryl, for the 3rd time, both because he's such a nice person and because I wanted him to sign our picture. So I got in Norman's line, and I'm so glad I decided to get gold VIP for Atlanta because they wouldn't let anyone below gold meet him. Anyway, I walk up to Norman and you know, he's like, "Hi, how are you again?" and stuff, and we basically just have a normal conversation. And of course, just like everyone else I had encountered that weekend, he asked where I was from, and during this he put his hand out on the table, so I put my hand on his hand and he held my hand the whole time. So that was very fun. And he hugged me like 4 times, so that was also very fun. And he signed the photo, we said goodbye, and off I went. I did go to Jeffrey's line to possibly meet him again, but he's always a very risky one because it seems like he always needs to leave early or he just can't get through meeting everyone, because believe it or not, at Walker Stalker, Negan is always the most popular person to meet. Sadly, he did have to leave an hour or 2 early because he was filming something else, but he did sign a photo of Negan and gave it to one of the staff, who then gave it to me, so at least he did that, and that was the end of the convention. So on the night of the 29th of October, it was time to fly home. One thing I missed the most is the view of the city. Anyway, our first flight was about 9 hours, so that means we landed in Amsterdam at about 5:30 a.m. in their time, and our next flight was at like 8 a.m, which means we landed back in England at around 9 a.m. on October the 30th, and of course it was not finished there. We then had a 2-hour train journey after all those planes, so overall we travelled for far too long, but it is always worth it in my opinion. Atlanta was very successful for me. I got all of the selfies I wanted, all of the photo ops I wanted, all of the autographs I wanted, and it was such a perfect weekend, except from Jeffrey leaving early, but it wasn't his fault, and there is always next time. If you are not a fan, subscriber, or regular viewer of mine, and you are just a Walking Dead fan looking to go to Walker Stalker, I would say absolutely go for it. Before my first Walker Stalker, I also watched probably hundreds of videos just to decide whether I should actually go or not, and in the end I just did it, and now I'm planning my 3rd one for next year. As for Gold VIP, absolutely worth it in my opinion. I did general admission in Chicago and Gold VIP in Atlanta, and it just seems like I got nowhere near as much done in Chicago as I did in Atlanta. With all of that being said, thank you for watching, not just this video in general, but every one of my videos. Without YouTube and my viewers and subscribers and everything like that, I would have never in my life been able to go on these trips, so thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this journey just as much as I did. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.